Hi, you're watching Velde News TV. I'm Neil Rogers outside the Garmin Chipotle bus at the start of stage 14 in Nîmes with Trent Lowe. Trent, starting the 14th stage, this is officially the longest you've ever raced in a stage race. I know you've done a few 10-day races. How are you holding up?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually I had a bit of a flat spot, after the end of the first week, and I think I feel better now than I did then, 5 or 6 days ago. So it's funny how it goes. You just get your ups and downs, and hopefully you get some good sleep in between and you bounce out of it.
We saw you do well at some pretty big Pro Tour level races earlier this year, races like Paris-Nice, Criterium International. How does racing in the Tour de France field compare to, I mean, it's a lot of the same riders, maybe even some of the same roads, but it is the Tour de France. I mean, now that you've spent 2 weeks at this race, how can you compare the two?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's different to every other race in the world for a whole bunch of reasons, I think. And I mean, if you compare it to Paris-Nice or Crit International, the weather's a whole lot better, but the roads might be a bit different, and the stakes are bigger here, so the teams are sort of more reluctant to let things go, and it makes the racing a lot more nervous and more tense. And everyone's fitness is higher. It still seems like in the spring everyone's finding their form and getting their legs, and myself included. You're so much fitter by this stage of the season than you are earlier in the year, so that makes the racing and the level just that much higher. So I guess they're probably the couple of main differences, I think.
And then obviously the crush of the press as well. I mean, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here, but this is the big show. I mean, all of a sudden you're on television all around the world. I got two questions for you on that topic. One would be, how do you handle it? And B would be, what kind of feedback are you getting from friends and family back home?
Yeah, I hear a lot of things from people at home, if I answer that question first. Even friends or people I knew from school that will send me an email or write to our website, or if they get in touch with my family, they'll send me a text message or something like that, and I haven't spoken with these people for 5 or 6 years, So yeah, there's a lot coming from home that I wouldn't have otherwise, or wouldn't have, expected otherwise. And
in terms of the crush, I mean, in terms of, getting microphones just thrown in your face pretty much everywhere you go.
Yeah, and I mean, that is a big difference. It's at the end, it's just chaos. It's like a scrum. Everyone's fighting to get to their bus and get a drink and get out of there to be showered, and then the press do want an interview, or they're after the stage winner or a bunch of other people to get an interview, and they're sort of in your way, and they're doing anything they can just to get an interview or a photo of whoever they want. So they're sort of jumping in front of you, or it is pretty chaotic. And I guess, I don't know, after 14 days I sort of expect it now, but in the beginning it's something new and different.
Yeah, I mean, being a member of the press, there's been some hilarious moments. At one point, I don't know if I told you about this the other day, we actually had a scrum around Cadel Evans' helmet. I mean, there wasn't even anyone talking. It was just one person was looking at the helmet, and everybody started throwing microphones and cameras in, and pretty soon we realized that there was 45 people trying to interview a helmet. Yeah,
I think you said that, and it was one of the journalists who was left telling the story or something like that.
You talk to Cadel much? I mean, you both Australians. Obviously, you've trained with him for years out in Italy and Switzerland. And I mean, what's it like for him being in this position?
Yeah, I speak with him a bit, and he told me the other day that he hasn't even bothered turning his phone on in the last few days since he's had the jersey. So I guess he's pretty overwhelmed with calls and friends and support. But I think he's handling it really well. It's not getting to him, and I think he was very smart coming in that. He had a good plan in place to deal with the media and deal with these things that he couldn't necessarily control. And you saw him have a crash, and it hasn't rattled him. He took the jersey the following day after that. So I think he's really on top of things.
One last question, I'll let you go. You're riding in support of Christian Vande Velde. He has a very good shot at the podium. Cadel Evans in yellow could be the first Australian to take the yellow jersey. Any sort of conflict there, or how do you reconcile that?
I mean, I guess, it's fantastic either way, I guess. I'm here to ride for Christian in the mountains. I'm not riding for Cadel or whatever, So it'd be fantastic for an Australian to win the Tour de France. It's never happened, and it's big news what he's done already anyway. So it makes us proud. But obviously we're 100% behind Christian. Come when the flag drops each day, we race for Christian. There's no question of that.
Trent, thanks for the time.
No worries.